2024 is almost over. Let's see what Spotify has to say about us. You're listening to Lofi Poli Sci. Dr. P coming at you from Lo-Fi Studios, New Orleans. How are we doing? We are back from our 2-week recovery of surgery, my friends. Still not 100%, but plenty well enough to cast for you. And how are you doing out there, huh? How are my Lo-Fi loves getting along these days? Right, and people, let us know how you've been doing. Because believe it or not, we care. And cue that cheesy 80s music, please. Yes, indeed. You know you missed it. Giving you those throwbacks to 2020 and the early years of us. But now, as usual, though, when we get to the end of every single year, we do normally like to take a couple weeks off to kind of rest, recuperate from the season that was. But hey, not this time. Since surgery took us out for 2 weeks, we'll be casting through the year and beyond. And so every year we also go over our Spotify Wrap. So let's dig into it, people. And all of you already put your Spotify Wraps out there for your music. And I got one for my music as well. And I'll give that to you too. But what does a content creator's Spotify Wrap look like? Well, that's a little something different than just who you've been listening to lately. But real quick, I'll give you the music one because I know all of you want to know what I've been listening to this past year. And before I even give it to you, it's totally biased. I listen to most of my music on YouTube, and it's mostly a million different kinds of lo-fi. Surprise, surprise. And don't forget, Pandora, and yes, my cat Pandora, don't forget her, but I also mean Pandora the music app. And yes, I still listen to it. A lot. So don't hate people, appreciate. And keep all that in mind when you hear this, all right, about the Spotify list coming up. So firstly, I know all of you out there listen to 1 million minutes and hours of music every year on Spotify. I, however, do not. In 2024, I listened to a grand total of 783 minutes. That's a whopping 13.05 hours. And that should tell you a lot about me listening to Spotify this year. But hey, that's a big product of doing things as a content creator on my laptop and always having YouTube playing music in the background and where I do a lot of my grind at, And then get this one I like, all right? On February 12th, it was my biggest listening day to Spotify. And on February 12th of this year, I listened to a whopping 64 minutes. 1 hour and 4 minutes. That's it. That was the biggest amount of music I listened to at one time on Spotify this year. And I think I kind of remember what I was doing that day too. But still, okay, my top song. What song did I listen to the most on Spotify this year? Build Me Up by Robo and El Hollis. And let me tell you, I still love this song so much. I love it so much. First heard it back in the day on an e-games tournament, Snapdragon Pro Series. I'll tell you something else about me you already know. But my top 5 songs of 2024, you're going to laugh your ass off about this on Spotify. Remember all the other bias and all this stuff? All right, so number 1, Build Me Up. Just as I said before, Robo and El Hollis. Number 2, Dog Days Are Over, Florence and the Machine. Number 3, California Girls, Katy Perry and Snoop Dogg. Number 4, The Hunger and the Fight by the Mahonies and Tara Sloan. And number 5, Royals by Lorde. And remember, people, don't hate. I can hear you hating already, but stop it. Stop hating, all right? My top 5 artists were most certainly the same except for Katy Perry. Switch out Katy Perry with Carly Rae Jepsen, and those were my top 5 artists overall that I listened to. Now the good stuff, the nitty and the gritty and the behind the scenes of Lofi Poli Sci, the content creator side of Spotify's Wrap. Let's get into it, my friends. And again, before we begin, a ton, if not half or more, it's really hard to say the exact number, but probably about half of Lofi Poli Sci listen on YouTube or on other podcast apps like Apple or Google or other ones out there. So keep that in mind. This is only Lofi Poli Sci Wrap of Spotify. We'll talk about some implications about that coming up soon. All right, so let's go. We gained, in 2024, 10% followers this year. Well, that's pretty good. Numbers are up by 10% over 2024 compared to 2023. And 83% of our listeners this year were new. And I got some pretty good ideas about what all this is. This is all you lo-fi students checking us out on Spotify until you retreat to YouTube because you know it has captions and subtitles and you can just download everything I say and take notes off of that. I see you out there. I see you. But the number one listened to episode this year was not an episode at all, but rather a lo-fi track that we made during Lofi Poli Sci Study Beats Volume 1, which came out in like 2020. The track, If It Takes Us to the Stars, So Be It. And today, I still love this song. Now, this song wasn't just like a number one episode listened to this year, but it was like clear, far and away top episode. It had over 2,495 plays this year. Almost 2,500 plays. Like fucking right, lo-fi. Or at least the one of you that has a computer program that hits the repeat button on it all year long. Thank you very much. But we'll come back to hot episodes later. All right? Demographics. What are the age demographics that Spotify collects? Because guess what? Spotify collects data on all of your ages, all right? So it breaks down Lofi Poli Sci audience by ages and percentages. But again, this is completely biased because it's probably missing half of all lo-fi listeners. So, Spotify listeners. 42% of lo-fi listeners on Spotify are 18 to 24. 25% are 25 to 29. 14% are 30 to 34. 8% are 35 to 44. 9% are 45 to 54. And just 2% are 55 plus. And I'd really like to know, like, who's 55 plus listening to us? I like this. So overall, though, 67% of Spotify lo-fi listeners are 29 years old and under. Now, of our listeners on Spotify this year, this one's kind of interesting for me. You came from 33 different countries around the world. That's what's up. You know, predominantly, most of our listeners are from the U.S., but our reach is growing. We came from 33 different countries this year. And more than that, we are a top 10 show listened to by you for over 100 followers, 103 followers. We're a top 10 show for you. Now then, Spotify asked me the question. It's ridiculous. I don't think, well, when we did our music caps, we all did get like what was our theme for this month and for that month, and we're like EDM or punk rock or anything like that, right? So Spotify asked me the question, what kind of content creator am I? And I'm like, what kind of content creator am I? And then it gives me the damn answer. It says, the creator personality of the trendsetter. And clearly they've never met me otherwise. No, we do not send trends in our show. That's not what we do. Oh goodness. But in 2024, Lofi Poli Sci was rated as a 5-star show by all of you out there. Thank you. And that's our wrap. Plus, actually, a whole lot more. But we reach a lot of people and places on YouTube and on other apps and on Spotify, and we're keeping on growing. 4.5 years now. Because of you. Because you care. I care. You know, I'm casting because of you. I casted from 2020 all the way through 2024. And we're going to keep casting into 2025 and beyond. And there you go, 2024, all lo-fi lack. Love you, lo-fi. And this, just a snap of what's going on in the world today.
I see.
I'll bring it down, man, like. Always remember that Lofi Poli Sci is more than just me. It's the we that we be. Pickering, signing off. And yes, we are back from surgery. And for all of you out there, thank you for your well wishes. Really, it really means a lot. It meant a lot, and it's going to keep meaning a lot because I'm not fully recovered yet. But I am well on my way. And you may or may not be able to tell the difference in my voice, although I changed my voice for the show. Yeah. But yeah, we getting there, people. We getting there. Just want to send you some love and tell you I've been thinking about you these past 2 weeks. Love you, Lo-Fi.